Transit Arts.
Okay, so today we're going to be learning how to make a mask, and you can see here that was my example. The first step that I do to most things is getting down the best idea. Anything that I'm making, I make a little drawing beforehand, and I try and make at least 10 sort of small little ideas. You see, I'm not really taking too much time with any particular drawing here, just getting them out super quick. And these little drawings are called thumbnails because traditionally they'd be about the size of your thumbnail, but you can make them bigger than that. You don't want to make them too big though, because the idea here is not to make a finished product or a finished drawing. It's just to get out several ideas. And so you can see me here sort of doodling, and I see that little idea, and I take and I expand it. And it's a little bit out of the camera here, but yep, a little bit of a readjustment, and you can see. And I'm pretty happy with that last one, but I go ahead and try out a couple of different versions. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to miss out on any good ideas. I want to at least have 10. So you can see me here drawing a few more, and I kind of like all those. The next step is cutting holes into your paper plate. So I usually draw out the circles or the shape of the hole that I want to cut, and then I can go in with scissors, stab it through, and sort of trace along the lines that I did. Then I'm gonna punch holes into the paper plate that I can later stick my ribbons into. Here I'm drawing the color wheel so that I can have all the colors in my mind when I plan out the color scheme of my mask. Then I'm going to use my thumbnail to draw out a small little final drawing of my mask. You can see me here drawing it in pencil, and you can barely see what I'm drawing. And I do that because I don't want the pencil to show through the color pencil coloring. And then I'm going to test out my color scheme. So I had the little drawing of my mask, the little planned out drawing, and I'm going to test out the different types of colors that I could use. I'm sticking to 3 different colors here: the green, the red, and the orange. And I throw a little bit of brown in there as a neutral color. It's not necessarily on the color wheel, but it's still a color nonetheless. And you can see me here going in with the different colors, and I erase the pencil right after I put in the color pencil. Usually I'll go ahead and do that after I'm done with all the color pencil, but you can see me here erasing after I color in so that that pencil mark isn't really visible. And I'm sort of trying to clean up the edges of those eye holes there. They're a little bit messy, so I try and push them down and make them a little neater there. But I'm sort of going in and doing my best to draw a circle. You can see me rotating the paper plate, and rotating the thing that you're drawing on will often help you get a better angle with your pencil, so you don't have to move your hand around as much, or you can just have sort of an easier time. I'll take a second here to talk about my design. I wanted to have a mask that had a bunch of different faces all in one, so I wanted to have a bunch of different eyes on the mask to sort of have this surreal or beyond real quality to it, which I think came through. And you can see me here coloring the edges of the plates is a little tricky, but again, if you move the plate around a little bit while you're drawing, you'll be able to get those angles a lot easier. And you can also see me coloring with the side of my pencil rather than the point. And that's so I can cover more ground and sort of have more control over how much area I want to cover when I'm coloring. It's going to make a big difference when you start coloring if you start using the side of your pencil rather than the point. So go ahead and try that out sometime. And I'm going to take a piece of paper to help me make a straight line there. If you don't have a ruler, you can always try and find any old thing with a straight edge and put that on your page to help you draw a straight line. A little life hack there. I've used little cards before, the side of a book, whatever you can find. If you can't find your ruler, or you just don't have a ruler, or you just want to use a book just for funsies. But here I am continuing to draw over the paper plate, and I'm going in on the red that I've already drawn so I can make it just a little bit darker so it can stand out a little more, make the color a little more vibrant. I'm adding in these little dots here into the red circles to try and make them look more like eyes. And the next step here is to cut and thread ribbons. So I went ahead and twirled up that ribbon, making it small enough to fit through the hole there. And that's what you'll need to do when you're threading the ribbons through. You'll need to sort of bunch them up a little bit on the tips to make it easier to thread through. Here I'm going to cut one ribbon and line it up with the other ribbon here so that I can cut it to the same size. And the reason I want it in the same size is because I want my mask to have sort of symmetrical ribbons. I want the one side to match the other side. So if you were to split the mask in half, the left side and the right side would look identical. And that's what I was going for here. So you can see me unfold that little fold that I made there to try and make it closer to the one on the left. And I went ahead and cut two ribbons, again the same size, so that it could have a symmetrical look. And again, just retrying those knots there to try and make it look a little more similar. Also bent the top of those ribbons to make the edge look a little cleaner here. This time on these ribbons, I sort of swirl the ribbon around itself to tie a knot and help it not fall out. And I'm going ahead and cutting out 4 ribbons this time that are the same size and sticking them through one at a time. I haven't tied the knot on any of them yet, but I'm just sticking them through, again, bunching up the ribbon to make it small enough to come through the hole. You can see me sort of trying different folds out. The reason why I'm crinkling these ribbons the way I am, sort of giving them that swirl, is so that they hold up a little better. Because if they're straight and they're too long, they'll sort of hang down a little bit. The weight of the wire will drag it down. And here I am putting in a bunch more ribbons, again cutting them all to the same size so that the mask can have a symmetrical look. I always thought that it would be cool to have a mask like this, so I went ahead and made one. Again, here I'm going to touch up the coloring, and ideally I would have colored the entire mask before putting the ribbons because it would have made it easier to color. So that's what I would suggest. If I were to do this again, I would definitely color first, then ribbon. But anyway, here I am coloring the white space brown. It's always nice in a painting or a drawing to have all the white space covered up. The only time you ever want white space on your page is if you're doing it for a reason. So in this reason, I have the eye whites white, but the rest of the mask I'm coloring in, and I'll let the music play here for just a little bit as I color things in. You can see me here test a couple of colors by the side so that I can see what adding blue into my green will look like, and then I go ahead and I start doing it on the mask. The reason why I'm adding blue into the green is to sort of make the colors pop a little more so we can darken up the edges, and I would suggest that you do that too. Whenever you're using color pencil or any paint, it's always nice to add a little bit of a different color into your color. So if you have an orange, you can always pop a little bit of red or yellow into there. If you do that, if you check out the color wheel, you'll notice that the easiest way to know what kind of colors to add into a color is the colors right next to each other. So yellow would have red and orange next to it, and that's always, those two colors are always pretty good to add sort of a depth into your yellows. Or if you're red, it would be orange and purple. So those two colors are good to put into the red. And you can see me using the purple here to sort of add some depth into the brown section of my mask. And it's always nice to add purple to sort of darken up some colors, give them a little bit of dimension. You can see it makes the mask a little more interesting now that it has that purple rim around it. And for the red eyes there, the circles, I'm outlining them a little more with the purple to see if I can make them pop a little more. And instead of using a black marker or something, I'm just going to try and use color pencils for now. And you can already kind of tell it's making the different shapes pop out just a little more. And in just a second here, I'm going to line up my headband with my eyes, because otherwise you won't be able to see through your eye holes. So you want to make sure that the headbands come out right at the same line as your eye holes. And you will see me here do a little demonstration with the pencils. Yep, they're lining right up with the eyes. Otherwise, you won't be able to see through your mask. And then you want to make sure you add some ribbon, the proper length to be able to tie around your head. If the ribbon's too short, you won't be able to tie it around the head, and it won't be able to be a mask. It'll be something else. Who knows what it could be? Well, here I am. I'm tying the mask to my head. I try to make this slow so that if you could try and follow along to help you learn how to tie a knot there, or if you seem like you really can't get it, see if you can get someone in your house to show you or tie it for you. Well, anyway, there's the final product. We really look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. We're very excited to see everyone's mask, and well, we'll see you around.
Transit Arts.